Hey ladies and gentlemen, and I'm back with another video pretty quickly because now I decided I want to review the first 3 episodes of the season 3 of The Bad Batch, and I think they were great. They were really good. This is it might possibly be the best Star Wars TV show premiere I ever seen, because this premiere was simply phenomenal, excellent, and I'm really looking forward to see more of it. I mean, I have one issue with episode 3. I mean, it's more of a concern actually than an issue, but we'll get to that later. First, I will say that I really think it was a fantastic premiere, and all 3 episodes were great. Like, the first episode focuses on Omega adjusting to her life in the facility of Dr. Hemlock, and then the next episode is the side adventure of Hunter and Wrecker and their goal to rescue Omega. And then the third episode, it's really the best episode of the 3, although that's also the one where my concern arises, but again, we'll get to that later. And in the first episode, I really like that the show basically makes it clear that a lot of time has passed, like few months, in between last episode of season 2 and the first episode of season 3. Like, you can see that Omega has kind of like adjusted to her life in the facility. I mean, she still decided he doesn't want to be there, obviously, but at the same time, she's far more calm and far less resistant, and you can also see how much time has passed in that her hair is longer. I really like that type of attention to detail. And also her relationship with Emery as well as Nala Se, and this is actually quite interesting, and I'm really interested to see more of this, because Emery certainly shows far more affection and love for Omega, but at the same time Nala Se outright tries to help Omega escape. I mean, her actions certainly, she certainly doesn't seem to act with so much love and affection for Omega as much as Emery does, but on the other hand, Nala Se's actions seem to be far more in Omega's best interest. So I'm really curious to see more of that, and I'm really curious who actually cares more for Omega, Emery or Nala Se. Well, which one is using her for her ends? Or maybe they both care about her in a different way? Who knows? But that's one of those things I really want to see more of. And I also really love Crosshair. Like, I really loved Crosshair's character development in season 2, and I love its progression here in season 3. Like, I really hated Crosshair in season 1. In season 2, I was beginning to really like him, and I really loved his character development. But now, I might go as far as to say he's possibly now my favorite character in The Bad Batch. And really, the scene where Omega visits him in his cell and he says, "I belong here." This is a very heartbreaking and emotional scene, but it's also possibly now one of my favorite scenes in Star Wars animation. I especially love the part about Crosshair because the story of Crosshair becomes kind of psychological actually. And I really love that. And then later, Crosshair and Omega actually team up to together escape the Imperial facility, and I also really like that, and I'm really curious now to see a lot more of their relationship developing and evolving, and seeing where does Crosshair's character development go on next, because, as I said, he's possibly very likely now my favorite character in The Bad Batch. The second episode I really like too. It's mostly a filler stuff. It focuses on Hunter and Wrecker looking for Omega, and then crash landing on a mysterious planet and meeting some young clones there, and then teaming up with those young clones to fight some tentacled monster who apparently was created by the Empire. I don't know what this monster is, but my theory, based on the way it looked and all, it was actually a mutated Sarlacc. I mean, I don't know, that's just my guess. Although this episode was mostly really a side quest for Hunter and Wrecker, I still really like that. Like, I do think that some filler is good. I don't like too much filler, which is what the first season of The Bad Batch had a lot, but a moderate amount of filler is fine, and this is a perfect example. I really like that. And now I'm going to get to the part that is my huge concern. There are many parts I actually love about this, but this also is where my huge concern lies. And first, the Emperor showed up in episode 3, and I thought his presence was excellent, and I'm really glad Ian McDiarmid returned to voice him. And then he meets with Dr. Hemlock, and they talk about the Project Necromancer. We exactly don't know what the project is yet, but considering it's about cloning and all, but this is really where my very huge concern comes in. That Project Necromancer seems to have something to do with cloning, especially that Palpatine talks about a backup plan for the Empire, and this is my huge concern because I'm really scared they are trying to lead it into the sequels, and I really hate the sequels, especially Rise of Skywalker, as like bringing back Palpatine from the dead was simply an insult to everything that came before. But ultimately, that's a different story, so that's actually my biggest concern, because me and plenty of other fans are very much afraid that this whole Project Necromancer leads directly into the sequels, which I really hope not. Because in isolation, if we pretend the sequels don't exist, if we completely remove the sequels, in isolation, that plan actually makes perfect sense. Like, it's actually quite common for many of the Sith to pursue immortality, like Darth Plagueis pursued immortality, as well as Sith Emperor from the Old Republic times. And, of course, so did Palpatine himself. Like in Revenge of the Sith, he very much talks about trying to cheat death. So, actually having a backup plan and even attempting to pursue some immortality, that's actually perfectly consistent with Emperor Palpatine's plan. So, in isolation, if we pretend the sequels don't exist, this actually makes perfect sense, and I would really love that story point. But unfortunately, there is unfortunately a high chance this might unfortunately lead into the sequels, which might even ruin the Bad Batch for me, but please no. As of now, as I said, this might actually be my favorite episode, and as of now, if it doesn't lead to the sequels, and I really hope it doesn't, it's possibly my favorite Bad Batch episode so far, because as I said, in isolation, if you remove the sequels, Palpatine's plan makes perfect sense, actually. Plus the fact that when they enter a room of Project Necromancer, that room also very much resembled an ancient Sith temple, and I really like that too. So we'll see if that actually does lead to the sequels or not. But I really hope not, because again, as I've been saying, if you pretend the sequels don't exist, Palpatine's plan makes actually perfect sense. So, overall, I think first 3 episodes of the Bad Batch were insanely good. Another thing I have to compliment is that the animation and cinematography is probably better than ever. It simply now looks really excellent, maybe even better than it looked in Season 7 of the Clone Wars. So, overall, I really loved first 3 episodes of Season 3 of the Bad Batch, and I'm really looking forward to see where this is all going, because although I've been saying it's really hard to get excited for anything Star Wars nowadays, I will also say I think Star Wars now is actually far better to their animated stuff than to their live action stuff. Like, I basically gave up now at this point on the live action Star Wars, but it seems like their animated projects are still very much great, and the first 3 episodes of Season 3 of the Bad Batch are perfect examples of that. Although, as I've been saying, and I will say it again, I really hope this does not lead up to the sequels, or else it will completely ruin the Bad Batch. But so far at least, first 3 episodes of the Bad Batch Season 3 are excellent, and I'm really looking forward to watching more. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for checking out this video. Press the like button, please subscribe to this channel, and I will talk to you soon in another video. Talk to you later, bye!